My fall practicum is entitled Andragogy and Technology, Implementing Video Learning Modules into Adult Classrooms. My name is Bill Guenther, and this is how I did it. When I began thinking about my practicum, I needed a goal. My goal was to incorporate video modules into my class of adult learners and to gather feedback on the quality and usefulness of this technology. I wanted these video modules to be available to my students outside of class as well as inside class, so this way they had the resources as self-directed learners to use this tool whenever they need it. Let's talk about learning objectives. When my students leave my class, they should be able to document in our electronic medical record system. These are the EMR systems that providers now have to document in order to prove that they are meaningfully using the data that they collect. Specifically, my students need to be able to document patient vital measurements, as incorrect vital documentation could lead to adverse health effects down the line. Step one is to prepare, and to prepare, I needed a plan. So my plan was to use the video recording software that I had access to, which is mid-level software, and create a video lesson module of an important and common process that my team teaches often. In this case, documenting a patient vitals. To do that, I created my quality metric workflow video on documenting vitals, and with my organization's blessing, I was able to show my students what our software actually looks like and where to document information like their username, height, weight, BMI, temperature, blood pressure, and pain scale. My students would actually enter this information and then check a vitals taken checkbox to show that they have actually completed their work, which gets displayed in our patient progress note. The second part of my plan is to integrate this technology bi-weekly, which is the schedule that I actually hold my classes at. 1 week I would use the traditional method and actually observe a lecture on the vitals process, and the next week I would use the video modules in which I would also observe and judge how well my students were engaging with the material. I would observe them, assess their skills, and survey them afterward on the instructional quality. To measure the success of my two methods for comparison, I began by preparing a hands-on assessment for my students to take. This was the 6 questions of the data that they needed to enter in that was considered vitals. I also created a rubric that I would compare my observational notes with and grade my students on their engagement. I did this on a scale of 1 to 4 with specific criteria listed for each level. Finally, I created a qualitative survey for my students to provide feedback on the instructional quality of my video modules. This was a 1 to 5 rating system combined with 3 yes or no questions on the content and a 5th area where my students were able to enter any additional comments that they wanted to. I did face a few challenges during my practicum. For example, I had to pivot on the delivery method that I had planned on. For starters, I had wanted people to be able to actually watch these modules on their own individual computers. But due to our lack of hardware, in this case headphones, I had to pivot and show everybody via projector in a group. Secondly, I was unable to get access to the top-tier software that I had actually wanted, so my mid-grade software had to do, but it was frustrating to use. I also had a low data sample size due to low sign-up rates of my students. Unfortunately, due to my ever-changing schedule, every class does not have the same amount of students. So unfortunately, I was only able to collect data for about 8 students, which is extremely low, even by my standards. I ended up looking in class like John Travolta, wondering where everybody else was. But I gave it the old college try anyway. No, not like that. Like this. I put my best foot forward and I decided to go ahead with my video and make the best of a bad situation. Thankfully, all of my students were actually very, very candid and gave me some great feedback, and they all seemed to enjoy the process. Then it became time to analyze my data. It took a lot of time sitting at my desk and crunching over my numbers and my qualitative surveys, but I was able to get a lot of work done. Not like that, like this, and like this. It took a lot of analysis time, but I was finally able to draw some really interesting conclusions. For starters, adults truly do learn differently than children. Adults always need to know why they need to learn something, and the material has to be readily, immediately available for them to use in their actual lives. They want to know why they need to learn something, and they need to be engaged to be able to do it. They also learn better through hands-on experience. Experiential learning is one of the facets of the theory of andragogy, which was popularized by Malcolm Knowles. Hands-on, you say? Yes, Spidey. Students who are adults tend to learn better when they actually get to try something and practice for themselves. It's that kind of experience in which they're able to relay their lesson to a problem that needs to be solved, that they're able to transfer their knowledge successfully. They have to be able to solve a problem in order to transfer that learning. Things I would do differently next time would be increasing the length of the measurement period. I really would like to get more data to be able to work with to draw stronger conclusions. Additionally, I feel like I need to use better video software. The software that I used was good, but the higher tier software would have allowed me more features and greater capability for my students to actually practice, all built into the module. Overall, I really enjoyed this problem solving experience and was actually able to draw some very interesting conclusions. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.